everyone. Welcome to another episode of Nyaka News. This is very exciting today. We have two guests, Hillary and Chris. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and I know they have some fun stories to tell and things to share about each other. So I'm just going to let them dive in. Hillary, you're coming in from Uganda. Can you give us an introduction on yourself and tell us where you're at?
Thank you, Matt. I'm called Dr. Niwabine Hillary. Currently, I'm at Masaka Regional Referral. That's where I'm working. I just started today, and it's a great experience to be here with you all.
I am Chris Lowe. I am servant of Nyaka. I've been a volunteer for many years, and now I work on staff to help run the administrative offices on the U.S. side. I'm located in a little town called Swit City, Indiana. Nobody's probably heard of it out there too much, but I'm not very far from Bloomington, Indiana. And from time to time, I get to run up to the office in East Lansing and work with our staff there.
Awesome. So cool. And Hillary, a lot of our Nyaka family members and supporters, they know your story, have followed you all along, but some are just new to Nyaka. So could you go ahead and talk about your childhood and upbringing, how you got started at Nyaka as a pioneer student, meaning 22 years ago at the first school, and kind of go through your history. And then I'm sure we'll get to the part where you meet Chris some years later.
Okay, thank you very much, Matt. My story is so long, but I'll try to make it short for everyone to know, and maybe one day, whoever we have not met before, we can meet and share more. So I was raised by my grandmother, me and my sister Fiona. Fiona now has 3 children, and I'm the second to her. So starting with Nyaka, when Nyaka was starting, I used to be at Dr. Jackson's place. So one day he comes back from the US and tells me, Hillary, you'll be going back to school. It was something unusual. Our grandmother had already told us and assured us that we are not meant to be in school. Maybe we can do some other things and survive. Maybe she had already told us when she dies, we can go in the families and already shared and other families and survive. She had already given us skills. For example, like never touch what they have not given you. Yeah, that's one of the things she taught us, because she knew she was going to die very soon, maybe, and leave us also. The fact that she had lost her 9 children before I was born, she was very sure she was following them. So she started teaching us things and how we could survive in other people's families. But Charles came and Nyaka came, Dr. Jackson chipped in. And one day we were sitting close at him. He was putting on a shot. I can remember that day. I've never forgotten. It was a life-changing day. And he touched my head and told me, you'll be going to school, and it's called Nyaka AIDS Orphan School. I couldn't understand the English, of course. By then, I don't think I could even write my name. We had been to school, that was Nyaka's primary school, but of course, learning a few things here and there, and it wasn't as much, for sure. Then we started with other pupils that were recruited then when Nyaka was starting, and Professor Mondo Kagonyera, I remember, he opened the school. It was under a small tent made of banana leaves and some other things under a mango tree. When you go to Nyaka today, you can see that mango tree just as you're heading the guest house. You know that, right? So that's where the story began. There were 2 classrooms, and then Nyaka starts. I started in primary 2. We go on to primary 7. And it was very confusing because we're not assured. Myself, I was not assured that I could go past primary 7, but I was ready to do whatever I was told, because even the smallest thing was a blessing by then. But a chance comes, and then we join secondary school. By then, that was Ishaka Adventist College. We started senior one, we started through senior two, senior three, and then senior four. Another chance comes, then I went to Mbara High School where I did my A level. I did biology, chemistry, and math, and managed to pass. And then I joined Kampala International University where I studied a bachelor's of human medicine and surgery. So it's been a great way. But to tell you a short story how I met Chris, he's been a great man. I remember writing letters to him when I was in primary school. He was my sponsor, but I had never seen him. So when we were graduating in P7 class, that was 2008. I remember we had a very, very big party. I had never seen a party like that. I had a very big party, a very big cake, a lot of meat, and he was there. So he came at my grandma's place to visit us, and unfortunately, he was leaving the following morning. So he looked at the moon and told me one thing: when you look at the moon, remember me, and when I look at the moon, I'll always remember you. Maybe one day we can meet again, but I can assure you we'll meet again. Those are the words he told me, and I've never forgotten that. I'm really so grateful for every effort he has put in, has been there for me in so many occasions, in so many situations that were hard in my life. He came in and really did his best, and up to today, he's still pushing me. I'm so grateful for everyone who has really done this, who has been part of this dream, pushing me, sponsoring me, Beautiful World Canada, and many other people who have believed in my efforts and believed in me that one day I could do something. You are the people who have changed my life. You are the people who have changed the life of my family. You are the people who have changed the future. And I can tell you are my biggest motivation. But when I go back to Nyaka and look at the young ones, those young ones inspire me a lot. I can't wait to go back to school and maybe do a master's and keep showing them what is possible and keep showing them that you can actually come from zero and go to something. That is it. They inspire me a lot. I look at them and I be like, I was here. And the fact that you are there, you can come from there and be somewhere you want. I always thought maybe I could be a doctor. At first, I wanted to be a pilot because I knew I had the potential. But then the resources, the cost that comes with that. Yeah, there's so many people with dreams, but they never get the chance to really fulfill them. So along the way, I used to see my grandmother suffering from peptic ulcer disease. She would be acute, she would be vomiting, she would be diureting, and all those things I cannot talk about here. And then several times she was admitted in the hospital, Kamboga Hospital. And then when she comes back, she'll be sharing stories of how many of her children have passed on like that. Then I always thought maybe these people died because they never had a doctor. Maybe that was it. Maybe the cost of healthy care was so expensive. So I really changed my mind. I knew one day I could save someone who is going through such. And I'm really grateful. I've been able to do so many things. I've been in so many places throughout Uganda, and I've touched a number of people who have many healthy conditions, and I've seen most of them get through, and that really makes me happy. When I wake up every day to do what I love most, this is what I love. I don't care what comes with it, but I love doing it. I love waking up, seeing sick people, seeing them get healed, seeing them happy and walk home. So my biggest challenge is really treating these middle-aged people who have children. I've had one challenge seeing someone pass on, because when I see someone young and has children and is really losing life, it haunts me much. And I just start thinking, these children, what are they going to do? Like, what they're going be going through at that moment after losing a parent. That's what hurts me. So I do my best for my patients because I really don't want to see orphans. That is it. I don't like it. I don't like what orphans go through. I just would like every child to have a parent and never go through what I went through, never be orphans. I just want to see happy children. I just want to see happy people. And that is it. That's why I wake up every morning motivated. Like, I cannot do everything, of course, but I have to do my best. That is it. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Wow.
Incredible. And
Truly.
I would love for Chris to jump us back to 2008 when you first met. But I would like to interject and add that Hillary, your grandmother is how old?
My grandmother now is making 107 years.
Woo!
107. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Still caring for young grandchildren.
Yes,
one of
she's
which
doing
is
that.
a young Nyaka student now. And you're also a little modest in saying that you went to medical school, but you didn't tell everyone that you just graduated and you're officially a doctor. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And now, Chris, bring us back to 2008. Tell us a little bit about your history, how you got involved in the ACA, and then bring us to that trip where you met.
Well, I used to go to church with Jackson in Bloomington, Indiana, and that was how we originally met. He told me a little bit about his life's mission, and some of my background allowed there to be an intersection of sorts. So when he invited me to come with him and some others to Uganda in 2008, I was just overly excited because A, I'd never gone that far away from home, didn't know what that would be like, but B, as a young boy, I've always wanted to go back and visit what I feel like is in my heart and in my soul in Africa. Like it just makes sense. So this was that opportunity, and lots of stories and different little segues that happened. But by the time we actually got over there and I'm on the compound and I'm walking, where the school is and where the guest house is, and I'm just absorbing it all, taking it in, looking at the people, Uganda is beautiful. Like it's the vegetation is luscious and colors were vibrant. And, I'm just like a kid in a candy store. I'm just taking all this in. But especially when I got to meet some of the children, because their smiles and their infectious laughter, like it's just, it's like being somewhere else that I'm not used to, where, I guess life can get you down at times when you're worried about paying bills and all this stuff. So it was a nice refresh to just change up my personal daily life and be interjected into another culture. So when I actually got to see Hillary face to face, that honestly, it's a little awkward because, like he mentioned, we've been communicating. I knew he existed. I knew he was a smart, bright young man, and he had plans. But to actually meet him, he's, if you can't tell, he's very humble and he's soft spoken and mild. And I shook his hand and I'm like, what do I say? How do I, instead of trying to figure all that out, the two of us just let, interaction between two people just naturally come. So I quit in my head worrying about saying the right thing and all that. And I'm just like, this is my son. Like, I'm gonna, that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna act like, we've known each other all our lives and we've seen each other every day. And the few days I was there, because it was only about 2 weeks when I was there, and I did so many things, Matt. A couple of the teachers got married, and I went to the graduation, which of course is a story in and of itself, and marching through the villages to express the joy and jubilee of the students graduating, because that was in essence a new thing there. Graduation was not a thing. Like, so this first pioneer class actually graduating, it was a huge, humongous celebration. There was band and music and, you know, good food and Fanta sodas. You guys know about Fanta sodas. There's orange and grape and all the different varieties, and kids were laughing and dancing, and it was all fantastic. But in a nutshell, the moments that we got to spend together, Hillary and I, were invaluable. I'm just so blessed to have met him and to know him and to be able to communicate, you know, with him now regularly. We WhatsApp, and we can, you know, connect at any point because of the technology that exists in our world today, which is a bit different than it was in 2008. So anyway, that's kind of a little backdrop when we got together. And I will say this, I got to hug Grandma Deborah. So Hillary's grandmother is she's small of stature, but mighty as a giant of heart. And I got to spend some time there in her home, and you know, she still holds a very, very dear place in my heart as well.
Thanks, Chris. And so that's what you sparked with Nyaka. And can you give us a little update on what's going on with Nyaka right now, what your role is, and how that passion has infused into what you're doing now?
Yeah, so my role now is one of basically overseeing the various aspects of business, from our websites to our different programs. Of course, in the U.S., we are the major fundraising arm supporting the programs on the ground there in Uganda. So every day we come to work and we figure things out and find new and creative ways to share our children's stories and our grandmother's stories with the world. So dealing with I call it minutia of all that goes on behind the scenes to really make that happen. That's part of my everyday job. I used to do very similar things when I was a volunteer, and through the years, over 20 plus years now, we went from being 100% a volunteer organization, even including Jackson, who had a full-time job when he first started this vision. And now we've got a bit under 10 employees on the U.S. side, but on the Ugandan side, there's roughly 130 employees there. Everybody's diligent, doing you know, their support efforts to ensure that the organization runs smoothly and is effective into the future.
And Hillary, I'm curious, what's your day-to-day these days? I know, I mean, the amount of work you put in throughout the years with school, and now this is your first official time in the hospitals working, and I imagine it's really difficult, must be rewarding as well. Could you speak on what's going on with you right now?
Right now it's just wake up in the morning. Sometimes you have night duty or day duty. Sometimes you have duty that is running longer than 24 hours. Yeah, but just like I told you, I love doing that, nothing else. Just those are the days I prayed for. Those are the days I worked for. I just want to be there and do my best. I just want to be on ward and see a patient and write medication, examine them, and do my best, order for investigations, and make sure they're okay. That's all I have to do, and I just love it. I love it.
And let's jump into the future for you, Hillary. What's your short term? I'm talking 1 year, you know, this next part of your you know, work with your first year being a doctor officially. And then also, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
When this year is over, because of course I'm having 1 year here. I'm looking back to going back to school. I want to specialize as soon as I can, make sure I'm not caught up with age and time and all that. So if any opportunity avails itself, I'm just going back to school and specialize. I'm thinking about so many things, of course, along the way. I am part of that is having a private hospital, depending on how the situation will be. But so far now, what I'm thinking about is going back to school. I specialize, I then come back. I can see what to do next.
Awesome. And Chris, what about your next steps with your relationship with Hillary, maybe your next trip to Uganda, and then maybe a little bit on your whole vision for Nyaka's future?
Well, let me begin by telling Hillary. You said, Matt, what are some of my next steps with Hillary? So Hillary and I have been in communication quite heavily here over the last couple of weeks. And I've got some good news for you, Hillary. So yesterday, I had a conversation with a generous donor, and that led to them wanting to ensure that Hillary can focus on his patients and not his expenses in this his final year of residency. So I am happy to report to you, Hillary, that you won't have to worry anymore about the next 12 months. No matter what your government chooses to do or not do, you know what I'm talking about with that whole thing. So I am very excited about that. We can talk about the details a little later, but your next 12 months are covered. To Matt's other point about what the future maybe looks like in my brain as far as the next upcoming several years, from this year to 5 years from now to 10 years from now, I think that Nyaka will be, and I had to jot this down because as I was, formulating how do I say this, the future of Nyaka, in my opinion, is that it will be a stable activity hub of reciprocal community life. And what I mean by that is there are so many aspects. I mean, we're all human. We all live in the day-to-day, wherever we are in the world. There are so many aspects of life that are circular. We do them time and time again. We go through this, we go through that. It comes back around and you do it again and again. In the Nyaka Gizi community, where for many years we've been focusing on education, Jackson's vision started with that, and then he quickly adapted his holistic approach to, the day-to-day needs of children and the students. So before you can really focus on education, of course, it helps to have food in your belly and clean water so that you can then focus on studies. So I envision the whole community being a place that is self-sustaining when it comes to food, clean water, education. There's 7 things that I've got in mind for the future. I've mentioned those 3 of them. The 4th one is business commerce. And Matt, to your point, this to me is the crux of what needs to open up more than we focused on business commerce in the past. This is going to be what takes Nyaka into the future and allows it to be self-sustaining. So in the next few years, for sure, I think our business model is going to adjust and pivot somewhat. We've been so far focusing as a 501c3 here in the US, a nonprofit organization, an NGO in Uganda. But we need to diversify what we're doing, and that's going to allow us to come up with different business operations models and I see that as a way to even support the students after graduation, having jobs available for the students to take on and give back to the community. So the other three things I think that will be a part of that stable hub of activity is, and we're paying attention to this already, but health. It's hard to study or think about other things when you're not healthy. That's why we're so adamant that we educate the community, whether it's physical health, psychological health. We just recently opened a healing center, emotional health, nutritional health, dental health. All this is a package and a part of what we're supporting and doing. And I see that part never ending in these different aspects. Another thing that is coming on strong is recreation, sports, entertainment. Like, this is part of being human, so when you go out and you work hard and you want to relax, I mean, for some it's soccer, for other it's music, it's dancing, it's whatever. I think this is an area that you will see in the upcoming years, our community growing in purposeful ways to allow those types of activities to be broader within the community. And then finally, the seventh thing, which to me, the first six things won't matter if the seventh thing, philanthropic community, in other words, having people, and grandmothers are doing this now, they've been doing this for years, promoting the welfare of others who are next to you. Like, that's, in a nutshell, the gist of what will allow Nyaka to go well into the future and to be a model for other places that are similar throughout the world. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
I love it. Hey, Hillary, before we close up, do you have any a final message to share with the Nyaka family around the world?
The final message would be to thank everyone who has been there for me from the start at the time I graduated. I know it's been exhausting. Sponsoring someone to do medicine is very, very expensive. And I really don't take that for granted. I'm always grateful, thankful for every effort you put in. And if you can, please keep supporting Nyaka. They're doing a great job. There are so many people who have the same background as me and who would like to be where I am. If you can, please keep supporting us. So many young people out there Nyaka is supporting. They have so many big dreams. They all may not be doctors, but they will all be important for their families, for their communities, and for the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hillary. Thanks for taking the time, and thanks for all you do for Nyaka. And Chris, a final goodbye to the Nyaka family from you as well.
Yes, thank you so much for this time, Dr. Safe Hands, as his moniker says on the screen. It's been great. Thank you, Matt, for making this all happen. I feel like I cannot wait. Next year, I'm planning, several of us on staff are planning to take a trip to visit Nyaka there. And I plan on catching up with Hillary and seeing many things that were just dreams and ideas, like the library. When I was there, the library, they broke ground for the library. The vocational school wasn't even thought of yet. Like, there's just so much. It's been so long, 15 years since I was there. So I'm really looking forward to getting my next Nyaka fix so I can just rejuvenate inside my soul. So thank you so much for today and allowing us to connect like this. It's really been a pleasure.